Right, get a quick thumbnail, ready? Got smart. 3, 2, 1, smile. Perfect, mate. Thumbnail done. Most important part. Yes to the people. Welcome to a... Get focus.
Focus, goddammit.
Focus. Yeah. Well, we'll get that. Focus on you for now, but I'm sure if I tap, there you go, as well, that will get... Yeah, that'll do.
We're good.
So, we're going to do a Q&A for you guys. Ryan Hook is my flatmate, my best friend. We live together.
We're best friends?
We're best friends.
Oh,
we train
mate.
together. We do everything together. Let me just do a quick introduction of who you are, for anyone who doesn't know who you are.
I'm Pat's flatmate and I'm his best mate.
There we go, guys.
Basically about it.
That is the introduction. He online coach, and bits and bobs, just pretends to work. It's like the classic. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I do some PT, do some online work as well with the Muscle Mentors, which are a kind of online coaching brand and education brand. And yeah, that's about it really.
Decent, right. So we've basically, let me just check and turn the audio on. Yes, I did, because we did record a video not that long ago and I didn't turn the audio on, which is a nightmare. So I put up a Instagram Q&A for me and Ryan, got some questions, and we're just going to answer them for you guys, because realistically this time in isolation is challenging to create content because there's not really much to do. So we thought, let's do a Q&A.
Let's get some questions.
To give you guys some entertainment, but also some education.
Some value.
Because that's what we're about. Let's go through this, mate.
Got quite a few questions, didn't we?
We have got quite a few, and quite a few good questions. First one, I'm going to put the questions on the screen as well so you can see them. How long would I need to cut for before summer? So this is, I'm worried that I'm not in focus as well.
You are.
We'll go, yeah, that's fine. So this is completely dependent on your current physique. It depends on how much body fat you've got and how much you want to lose before summer. So realistically, I'll give you my best advice and Ryan can give you his. My best advice is going to be work out how much, what you want to look like, how much weight you want to lose, and then just give yourself, figure out sort of a time scale, and then give yourself a bit longer. Because it's always you'll lose, say for example, you're like, cool, I want to do a 10-week diet, and you lose 6 kilos within that 10 weeks, you'll always get to that point of oh,
yeah,
I wish I lost a little bit more.
Yeah,
I wish I had a little bit less.
100%.
So just give yourself a bit more. So if you're thinking about 10 weeks, do 12, 14 weeks. And if you're ready early, just do a little maintenance phase into your holiday.
Yeah. So much like we did with Pat's photo shoot, you were ready 4 weeks out, 5 weeks out. And we ended up then being able to hold him where he was in terms of condition, actually give him a little bit more food leading into the photo shoot, which A, made the whole process a little bit less stressful, B, actually improved his look for that photo shoot specifically because he was looking a little bit fuller for that period of time. He was less stressed, etc. But yeah, biggest thing, do not think, let's just give myself 6 weeks, because you're going to regret it when you're on holiday and you're still not looking how you want it to look. And from a health standpoint as well, having more time and being able to do it in a way that is quote unquote a little bit more sustainable, but more just healthy in general, rather than having to pull down really low and excessively. It's a case of let's just trickle down over a 12, 16. I've had guys diet for 20 weeks depending on how much they need to lose, and that can be done physically as well. It could be drop for 8 weeks, hold for a couple of weeks, then move on.
Yeah, that's it. And from a mental standpoint as well, if you're dieting for a holiday, say for example that holiday is an all-inclusive holiday, and you're dieting down and you're like, cool, I need to go hard for this, I've got 6 weeks left, I've got to go really, really hard, I haven't given myself enough time. You'll go onto a holiday just incredibly hungry, incredibly food focused, and just put yourself into a terrible place and just eat loads of food, and then you'll probably gain loads of body weight. So doing it with a bit more time is always more beneficial. We know your goals for the next year or two, but what are Ryan's? So we'll go answer away. What are your goals?
Yeah. What should we do? Business, personal-wise?
We'll
cover everything.
Do physique. We've got another question that goes on to that one in a minute. So go physique.
Yeah. So physique-wise for me, I think you'll agree. Last year was probably my most inconsistent year of training that I've ever had.
Yeah.
I've been training since I was very, very young. Always been very, very consistent with training, but last year took it a bit more relaxed. I think due to a mixture of reasons, I think the year before I took it very seriously in terms of like tracking, and I'd done like a pretty harsh dieting phase. So one of the things I wanted to re-establish was my relationship with food. So the whole of last year I actually ate intuitively. I was able to make some really decent progress by having a little bit less structure, which is actually really nice. But now I've come into this year really craving that kind of structure and that little bit more focus again. So from a physique standpoint, I want to be gaining as much muscle as possible. I'm in a pretty good place to do so. I'm fairly lean, like injury free at the moment, touch wood. So and just enjoy the process, enjoy training, because I genuinely enjoy going in the gym or even training in any capacity. And obviously it's a little bit different at the moment now, but at the same time, it's a case of I will go mad if I don't do any form of training at all. Gain as much muscle as possible. And I do want to do a photo shoot at some point, but I want to do it when I'm ready, not because I feel like I have to or I need to. I'm going to be patient with that, but I think that's a good focus in my head at the moment.
Yeah, big time. Again, another question directed at you. What was the hardest thing for Ryan whilst Pat was on his prep? So basically Ryan took control of like all my training and nutrition while I was dieting for the photo shoot. So what was the hardest thing?
I think, like you've obviously been following Pat for a while, most of you, but if you haven't, he's probably one of the most consistent people out there. Like if I was to tell him to do something, he would do it. So it wasn't that, which would be the biggest challenge for most people. Yeah. It was probably on the other end of the spectrum. So slowing him down, making sure that we actually went at a good pace rather than pushing too hard. Because I think you'd agree from a mental standpoint, it's a case of like you just want to keep going and keep going and keep going.
Yeah.
Whereas I was like, Pat, you're fucking lean already. We can start slowing this process down. Yeah. It was managing that other end of the extreme for you, I think.
Yeah, I when I diet, I get myself in a position of like I want to feel like I'm suffering. Like I want that feeling of like this is because like the first 4 weeks of dieting, for anyone who has dieted, it's not that hard. Like you're not food focused at all. You know hunger's not high, your appetite's not high, and it's like and in my head I'm like I'm not pushing hard enough. Like I want to be suffering, and then obviously you diet for an extended period of time and you do stuff. But again, like I just like to push.
I think it was like a foreign thing for you to be feeling as good as you were at that point. Weird, yeah. Because you psychologically felt like you should be suffering more, but it was fairly easy. Because like your calories got down to what, 2,500 at their lowest. And I get it with like my clients all the time in terms of they feel like they should be suffering more. But if you can go through a dieting phase and look how you want to look by the end of it and not have suffered throughout that process, that's the ideal. But yeah.
Absolutely big time. What would your ideal 3-course meal be?
I haven't thought about this.
I'm going to take this one.
You take it. I haven't thought about it.
Buffalo chicken wings with a blue cheese dip on the side.
Come on.
Peng.
Not my thing. I don't like
too spicy. Pepperoni pizza. Neapolitan style.
Yeah.
Cheesy enough so it sort of falls. Crispy enough so you can snap it. Pepperoni, jalapenos. Nice. And then dessert, I would go for Mum's Lotus Biscoff cheesecake.
Yes.
Yeah, my mum does the best. If you watch I did a post-diet video.
Yeah,
and the Biscoff was in there. What would yours be?
If you can ever get your hands on some of Debbie's Biscoff cheesecake,
so good.
It's like crack. It is like crack.
So good. What would you go for?
Yeah. I think it's a tough one. I always hate these questions because like there's so many foods that you enjoy. Will it down to one. I think starters. You know what my ideal starter is?
Go on.
Wagamama's, Gyoza.
They are good. They are good.
Either the crispy duck gyozas, or like the steamed ones as well are pretty nice.
Yeah.
I'd probably have that. That's one of my favourites. Cool. Main would be just a good roast dinner, like your nan's roast dinner. All of the works, Yorkshire puddings, everything. Pudding, we've already answered that. Lotus Biscoff cheesecake. Yeah. No, 100%. It really annoys me when people ask the question of if you're on death row, what would your last meal be? Like, if I was about to die, then I wouldn't be thinking about having a meal. What do I fancy right now? No. You'd be a bit stressed.
If you could live anywhere, where would it be? So this is I think personally, this is a challenging question because I haven't been to a lot of the places that I think I like to live at.
Yeah, you got experience.
So like in my head, I'm like, oh, I'd like to live in like Bali. I like to live in like
it's your classic,
like Australia, stuff like that. But I've never personally been there. So the place I've been that I'd like to live in. Personally, I like summer. I like heat. So it'd be something like Portugal, Greece. But like we spoke about the other day, the thing that would annoy me a lot about it would be they're behind us, like the Wi-Fi, the technology, like the gyms, all that stuff. They're very much behind us. So I think it was I'm actually happy with the UK, but as long as I can travel a lot.
Yeah.
This whole situation's killing me because I can't travel. I'm like, I want to go on holiday. I need to go on holiday. Like, I'm a regular holiday goer. So UK, happy.
Be
holidays.
Able to travel.
Yeah.
Yeah. Same as me. I don't like. I think like family. I want to stay here. Like I want to stay near my family. Even if I like didn't really enjoy the UK, I think I would love to stay near my family. I could never leave them. I think.
Yeah.
For an extended period of time. Yeah. I would rather, like you said, be able to have bouts of travelling, but then come back.
Yeah, like long periods of travel as well.
Yeah.
Like go somewhere for an extended period of time.
If I like my goal, if I can get to the point where I can take like 3 months a year in one block, just go travelling, like see a load of places, have a load of fun, then come back and still have a really decent life, enjoy work, enjoy seeing everyone. Yeah,
no, 100%. I think, but then if I had to pick like one place, it's almost like
it's a really boring answer, isn't it?
Yeah, that's a really boring
answer. Stay in the UK.
Australia would be sick. Like Australia looks sick, and I think I would love Australia, but I don't know, I've never been there. Favourite training split? Upper lower. The classic upper lower. Yeah, then if I was going out on a Saturday night, upper lower, rest, upper lower. Then Saturday, delts and arms. Because if you go out on a Saturday night, BFR arms, get jacked arms, hit pitching piano, pow pow, come on. That would probably be one of my favourite training split. Apart from body weight, what else can you track when dieting, e.g. resting heart rate? Probably when dieting, the most important thing to track is your visuals. And then we can keep an eye on things like your sleep, your resting heart rate, your hunger, your appetite, monitor all sort of like biofeedback markers. But the most important things can be visuals. Like no one, like who gives a fuck what body weight you are. If you're looking sick because like you probably had it before, like someone's dropped like 0.2 kilo and like, it's not going that fast, but actually they look sick.
Yeah,
they've changed dramatically.
I think as much as body weight is important as a data point, people do put too much pressure on it and too much stress on it without tracking anything else. Because as you said, especially for females, I think body weight is one of the more unreliable ways of understanding what's happening to body composition. Like looking at pictures, taking like circumference measurements. Like for general population, people are like, how are your fucking jeans feeling? Are they feeling looser? Amazing, we're moving forward.
That's literally my simple thing.
Yeah, and you got like all your different biofeedback markers. It's just important to track how you're actually feeling in yourself, because that can give a lot of indication in terms of do we need to make changes nutritionally? Do we need to make changes to training? Are you recovering well, etc.? Just managing all of those little things that are going to allow you to have a successful dieting period without hitting any roadblocks.
And the most important thing, like when dieting, thing to monitor is like how do you feel within yourself? Are you happy with looking at it? Do you feel like you progress loads? Because that's the most important thing, is how you feel within yourself. How effectively do progress... Oh, wait, sorry. That was incredibly... How to effectively do progressive overload. How often should we increase weight? So this is very... I can't just be like, you got to progress your weight every single week, nor can I say you have to progress every other week, for example. Like there's many different ways that we can progress. In regards to, you could just improve the execution of the movements, slow down the movements as to like control the tempo more. You could progress the volume. You could progress just like the weight of the movements. My go-to, just like simple answer would be, if you have a rep range within that given exercise, and you can go up to that highest point of the rep range with perfect execution, perfect control, perfect tempo, really good mind-muscle connection, really good sort of this feel of the movement, really good contraction within a movement, then you can progress.
Yeah.
You have to earn the right to progress, and if you get all them tick box,
nailed it. Yeah. Nothing to add.
Yeah.
Biggest foundation being execution. Are you doing things perfectly? Amazing. Keep that as the non-negotiable foundation of every single session, and then it's just a case of being patient enough, and especially for guys, just putting your ego aside and realizing that progressing is a slow process, and it takes patience. Don't try and be that guy that fucking like gets 10 reps at 100 kilos, then tries to go to 110. It's like, go to 102.5.
Yeah,
and then 105.
I've been stuck in that. I've done that before. I'm like, yeah, just fucking just come on. And it's like a really good thing when it comes to progressive overload is film an exercise, week 1, week 2, whatever, film yourself doing the exercise. And if you see 4 weeks down the line, it looks completely different. The speed of it's changed, the control of it's changed, everything like that. You've progressed too much with load. Reduce it, take it back down, get a good contraction.
Yeah. You can look at like what is progressive overload, why we're doing it. And it's a case of increasing the amount of stimulus that you are providing to that muscle. If on week 1, you've nailed execution, you're at 50 kilos, week 4, you're at 60 kilos, but your execution's shit, are you actually, with that extra weight, providing any extra stimulus? Or have you just altered your execution to increase that weight? It's just counterproductive.
Do you have separate kitchens? Cook together or eat completely different foods?
I've never been in a house that has 2 kitchens.
No,
I don't know if I'm just not...
And also as well, we live in a flat.
Yeah.
So we have a communal kitchen. We all have the same kitchen. And we sometimes cook together for dinner. And lunchtime, majority of the time, we cook separate.
Yeah.
And we eat relatively similar foods.
Yeah.
But
yeah, the majority of the time...
The basis of the meal is pretty similar, but it's just sometimes changes. Like he might have a wrap, I might have a chicken rice.
Like on the weekends, we might
cook together.
Just all have a nice dinner together. But
so we don't have separate kitchens. It'd be nice to have separate kitchens, but we don't. We only have one bathroom as well, so like, I'd rather an extra bathroom to be honest.
Yeah,
You want to get someone into training that needs to, but they don't want to. Any ideas? Realistically, when it comes to this, is you can't. Like, there's nothing you can do to get the person into training. It's just you have to wait for that person to be ready. And even if you do force someone into a situation like training, they won't do it because they don't want to do it. Someone's gonna want to do it. And when it's happened so many times when people diet, it's like, oh, I need to lose weight, but they can't adhere and blah blah. And it's like because they actually don't want to. Like they haven't realised the reason why they want to do it. Yeah. And that's the most important thing when it comes to like transforming physique. It's what's your why? What's your driver?
Yeah, no, for sure. I think it's a very, very tough conversation because I get where they're coming from in terms of, say, if you've got a friend or a family member and you can see maybe their health is suffering due to them not actually having any exercise in their lifestyle, etc. But at the same time, as you said, you can't help someone that doesn't want to be helped. What you can do is just be kind of gentle in your encouragement and just slowly kind of introduce it in conversations. It's very hard not to be kind of condescending or patronising when you're speaking about someone's body weight or someone's health. But if you come just from the standpoint of, listen, I genuinely care about you and I think it'd be amazing if we could just start going on a walk together on the weekend. Or I'm going to come over and do a little training session with you. Like, do you know what I mean? But
let's just try to eat a little bit healthier or whatever it is, depending on their goal and whatever they want to do. But it's a tough one.
Yeah, they need to work that.
Just be careful when we go with your approach and just ease it, very easy, gently. Boobs or bum? I'm going out with a Colombian girl, mate, so I'm going to have to say bum here, aren't I? I'm going to have to say bum. Yourself?
I'm the same. Bum man all the way.
Favourite chest exercise?
We're the same with it.
Cybex, Eagle,
chest press.
Chest press. The one that's got nice. You can do it like a straight path, or you can do it converging. It's fantastic.
Yeah, it's got to be that for me.
Yeah. Views on Herbalife. Well, I'm going to have a little bit of a rant in. I'm going to go for it.
Right. The floor.
Here we go. So, let me just quickly do the basis of all things. We're talking here, like, not just Herbalife. Okay, we're going to bracket this all together. Herbalife, Semi-World, Weight Watchers, Juice Plus, whatever the shitty things they do. Basically, my whole reason why I hate it is because losing body fat, the reduction of body fat happens by a principle of being in a calorie deficit. Like, that is a principle. We know that is science. Like, that is fact. Okay, these companies take that fact and then they put it into a method. Okay, but they do not teach you the fact. They just teach you their method and they sell you their method and they market their method and they do it. So that's the way they utilize that method as that is the only way to lose body fat and that's how we do it. And this juice is the way to do it or this pill is the way to do it. It's not. Like, education is the most important thing when it comes to nutrition. Yeah. Teaching people, and our approach to training people and getting people to lose weight is an educational process. We teach them how to, depending on the goal, but we might teach them how to track their foods to become more aware of what calories are in foods, or we might just get them to eat more intuitively, or whatever it is. But we're like, from the get-go, it's like, calorie deficit is the most important thing. How do we create a calorie deficit? Well, we need to do this. And it's not the fact of like, this is a shake. Drink this 3 times a day and you'll lose body fat. But if you eat a meal, you fucked it. Like, it's ridiculous. And they don't teach you how to deal with situations outside of that situation, which kills me as well, because that's the most important. Like, what do you do when you go out there with your mates with beers? Or was the diet completely over? Did we just ruin it? Like, so, views on Herbalife, fucking shit.
Yeah. Controversial opinion though, in terms of not Herbalife, but things like Weight Watchers and Slimming World, their principle works because they have a big sense of community.
Yeah.
And, like, I think that is something that we as coaches could take as a positive into our own coaching practices, and if we can then emulate that whilst providing that education that people actually need so that they can go through this process of becoming healthier, losing weight, but then be able to be self-sufficient by the end of it and go away and live the rest of their fucking life without needing to follow some specific plan. It's a case of they understand. They can go and do that themselves. If they, after Christmas, if they see they've gained a bit of weight, they know exactly what to do without asking a coach.
Yeah, that's it.
But,
and it'd be awesome if like places like Weight Watchers and Slimming World and all that stuff, like it'd be awesome if they did teach people more about the calorie process of it, like how to get yourself into a calorie deficit, how to do this, how to do that, because like you said, like they've got such a big community, they're such well known, they can help so many more people. Yeah. And help the people go on for longer and longer and longer.
From a business standpoint, they smashed it because it keeps people coming back.
Natty or not, definitely. If I was paying,
I'm humbled that you even asked.
Yeah, if I was paying for anabolic steroids and I was injecting testosterone into my bottom or anywhere within my body parts, I would be incredibly disappointed. Definitely natural.
Both natural.
Very, very natty.
Additional question: will you always stay natural, or is it something that you?
Ooh, I don't think I want to say I don't think I will.
No.
I think I will go over to the dark side one day. But if I did go over to the dark side, it'd be a very controlled going to the dark side. Like, it wouldn't be like, I'm going to see how many drugs I can put into my body and see how big I can get. It'd be like just slightly increasing my testosterone level to put myself into a little bit more anabolic environment.
Yeah.
But that's after I've had kids, after I've done everything like that. So.
Yourself? For sure. Same for me. I don't think at this period of time, and I can't see myself in the foreseeable future, having the desire to gain muscle tissue to the point where I then start thinking, I want to start. I think the only reason why I would is if I wanted to compete at a high level, which I don't at the moment. B, in the future, the very future, like when I'm late 30s, 40s, and natural testosterone starts to decrease, and I want to keep that up, may do. Yeah. But that may change in a few years, don't know. But right now.
Yeah. Hundy. Maybe. We don't know. Where do you see yourselves in 5 years? Very good question. I see
what age will you be in 5 years? How old are you?
31.
Fucking hell. We're 28. 29.
I see myself house, family, dog, business, which is 50% online, 50% one-to-one PT. Controlled hours, so I pick and choose the hours I want to do. I'll do half days. I'll be very much in control of with the hours I do with regards to PT, and just living a wicked life. Go on multiple holidays a year, taking, if I have kids, whatever, taking my kids away with me, like experiencing things with them, and I like to see myself settled down a bit more. Less party, so I'll do. Everyone knows me. I love a party. But less party, more settle, and just being in a good environment.
Yeah, I think environment is the biggest thing. It sounds so freaking cliche when I say this, but the only thing I want to be in 5 years' time is happy. Like, because if you boil everything down, it all comes down to just being happy and living a life that you're enjoying, having people around you that you love and get on with and care about, and having a business that allows you to earn enough money to live the lifestyle you want and have enough time to do the other things that you want to do in life, and like travel and see the world, and do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Be able to.
Yeah. Similar. Nice.
Bosh. That's deep.
Do you guys regularly do? Sorry, I'm terrible at reading these questions. Do you guys personally do regular ab work in a gaining phase? So, funny thing here. I think I did one ab workout, like an ab exercise, during my photo shoot prep.
One ab exercise.
Like I think I did like one laying ab crunch,
one
one set, and thought, like, I'm bored of this.
Yeah.
I'm basically, I hold my hands up here, I'm just gifted in regards to, I just get very good, like my symmetry of my abs, they just look, I'm just lucky in the sense I don't really have to train them, I just have good abs.
Yeah.
And so like I don't even train abs in a dancing face.
No.
Yourself?
This is one thing I'm really bad at that I need to improve this year. But aside from like an aesthetic standpoint, I think people always think training the abdomen so that you have a better defined six pack. But from a structural perspective, it is extremely important to be training those structures as well. And people use the argument that you're training your midsection within multiple different exercises in the gym, especially those that are more compounded, spinal loading, etc. But at the same time, we never train through flexion extension within those exercises, or rotation, or lateral flexion. And those guys are kind of integral structures that we need to make sure are strong as well, and it's something that a lot of people don't prioritize enough in their training. I think a lot of it is it's not really fun to do. Nobody wants to go in and just do some freaking side crunches on a cable. Time, people prioritize their time towards main muscle groups. But yeah, it is something that is definitely encouraged to do. So you start training them, Patty.
Yeah, I know. It's just boring, isn't it? No one else, I should. Who would win the fight out of you two? We would never fight.
Should we find out?
Should we do a YouTube video on? Should we just do a fight? No.
What kind of fight are we talking?
Naked man wrestling. We can film that. It could be fun.
We're both too experienced at that. It'd be unfair.
What we'll do is we'll set a paddling pool up in the living room.
Yeah.
We'll get naked. We'll get some soap and we'll just have fun. How would you work out someone's fat intake? So again, very dependent on an individual. Realistically, the way I approach things is much more like a general population basis than my clientele. So it really comes down to hit this calorie content if they're doing calories, but hit this calorie content. Aim for this roundabout protein range. Have a range of protein so they're not feeling like they're failing if they're going on a slightly lower one day. And then aim for around about this amount of fat. I put people that starting at around about like 0.8 grams per kilo body weight, and the start from there would never really go anywhere below 0.5. But that's again depending on, you could be dieting crazy hard and you have to. Sometimes you have to, and you know hormonally you might mess yourself up a little bit, but you just have to sacrifice that sometimes. But around about like if I was gonna like around 0.8 to 1 gram.
Yeah, per kilo. And I think aside from that numerical value, where you're getting those fats from is a huge conversation. It's a case of there's no point setting a fat intake if all of your fat intake's coming from freaking, I don't know, dark chocolate. Like, you want to be looking at making sure you're getting a good variety of fat sources in there, and having the majority of them come from what are known as poly and mono unsaturated fat sources. You see it a lot in the If It Fits Your Macros kind of style of tracking, and I think you were exactly the same when I took you on board. I looked at his food list and I was like, mate, you are not consuming any unsaturated fat.
All my
sources.
fats are like trace fats from things now.
Yeah, it was just, and your fats were very low, and so it's one of those more underappreciated macronutrients.
Yeah, because it doesn't taste like, it just doesn't have the good taste as you would have like. No. And when you diet, you would always rather have like more carbohydrate than a bit of avocado in play. Yeah,
100%. And when you're dieting, it's a case of making sure you're keeping that minimal threshold to maintain health. But yeah.
Last question of the day, as we've been rambling on a little bit. I thought it would go about 10 minutes. It's been like 20 minutes.
Yeah, we can talk.
How long to bulk for? This is
forever.
Very, very vague in regards to how long to bulk for.
We can answer that.
Realistically, if you go into initial bulk, like gaining phase, I would always start off with a relatively low body fat, like a good composition. So you're not overweight, you're relatively leanish, like you're not. It's very hard to just say how someone should be, but slight definition of abdomen, not overweight, probably the easiest way to put it. And then I would just go into a slight surplus, like a very slight surplus, and just slowly keep things moving forward. Obviously, track scale weight, monitor that, look for like around about like a 0.5 of a kilo a month would be a good, nice, slow sort of rate, and then just making sure that you are progressing your training, making sure that you're progressing in like as hard as you can within the gym. Make sure you're getting as strong as you can. Make sure you're sticking to the same program as long as you can, so you get efficient at exercises. And then once you get to a point where you feel you're not happy with the composition anymore, then go into a little mini cut, and then if you want to continue gaining after that, go in and gaining. It all depends on what you want to do after that.
Yeah.
There's no set time.
Start in a decent position.
Yeah, I did ramble that one.
Gain at a rate whereby you are gaining mainly muscle tissue and minimizing fat gain to prolong that gaining phase, because ultimately the process of building muscle is very slow, and in terms of scale weight you're not going to be able to gain an excessive amount week to week, month to month. So be patient with that. Go patiently so that you are prolonging that gaining phase and putting off the point at which you then have to do another mini cut or a cut. And I think the biggest thing is people just go too fast, think, I'm just going to eat everything that I can fucking see, and then they end up getting fat, and then they're in this constant cycle of cutting and gaining, and not actually getting much muscle tissue in the process. But the point at which you start to notice diminishing returns in terms of, you might notice training performance start to decrease, in terms of like just your recovery between sets, your recovery in terms of just generally from training sessions. Your look in general, you might notice that your look starts to fade and you're gaining more muscle, you're more fat than you are muscle. Then it's a case of resetting everything, body composition wise, health wise, then going again.
Yes, and like just basically, if you're going to venture into a gaining phase, just try to be in a gaining phase for as long as you physically can, because that's the way you're going to grow as much tissue. Like don't do like a 12-week gaining phase or like a 6-week gaining phase.
Yeah.
Do it for an extended.
It's going to be like a 12-month gaining phase.
Yeah, do it for an extending period of time.
Any significant difference in terms of muscle tissue. That is the harsh reality.
100%. And that is all the questions for today, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you've enjoyed this. All Ryan's details for like his Instagram, all that sort of stuff is going to be linked below. I've enjoyed that.
That was awesome. I think that's some good questions. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that and got some value from it. And
hope you enjoyed. If you enjoyed the video today, you need to like it. And if you haven't already, please do
subscribe.
Cheers, guys.